All right, what is going on, everyone? We are back. Season 5, Episode 20. We have our NFL Conference Championships round. We got 2 games this weekend on the slate. Ace's team still representing in the AFC. We will get to that game in a little bit. Just me and Ace this week. No Jesse, no Mackie. How are we feeling? You got to be feeling good coming into this weekend. We'll get to that game in a little bit, but obviously coming off a big win in the divisional round. I always love the divisional round games. I always say that's the best weekend of football we get all year, but a big win. How are we feeling heading into the conference championships?
Yeah, I'm hyped up. I mean, I think I was the only one out of us that kind of expected us to be here, thought we had a shot. Drake May just proving me right with everything I said. Mike Vrabel, all the signings, everything we did. So very hyped up about that. Red Sox made a nice signing over the past couple of weeks. The Bruins been pretty hot, even though they dropped one the other night. We got Olympic hockey. The World Baseball Classic is just around the corner, so 2 big games for the USA. Basketball is in full swing. We just saw the college football national championship take place. That was actually a really good game too. So getting ready to roll another week here, and happy to talk about my Patriots still alive. Huff, still alive. Let's go.
Yeah, with a favorable matchup coming again this weekend. Obviously, there's a lot of people chirping the schedule. Whoever you play who's in front of you. You can't control that Bo Nix just broke his foot and all that stuff going into this one, but we'll recap a little bit of these divisional games. Our first one on Saturday, we had Buffalo in Denver. Obviously, we know the outcome. Denver wins this game 33-30. Another Josh Allen heartbreaker. Me and Mackie talked about this one Sunday morning a little bit, but what do you think of that finish? I mean, if you're a Bills fan, how do you deal with this year in and year out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it necessarily was a catch. I know it's going to be debated a million times over. But if you have your arm in there, I mean, that's still a live ball.
Well, is that the same play that you're talking about where they rolled an interception where he
Yeah.
rolled over him?
Yeah.
I see. It is so whatever the call on the field is, that's what you have to go
You
with.
got to go with
There's
the
no
on-field
video evidence.
official.
What'd you say?
You got to go with the on-field official. That's like how bang it is. Keep the integrity of the game and
Yeah.
everything good. The crazy thing is everybody gets to watch these in slow motion, every clip. Like they're watching it in real time. So
They watch it maybe 5 times and they're like, "Yep, no evidence. See ya. Good."
yeah, integrity of the game. I like that they stood with the call on the field. And all these Bills fans, man, talking about that play, the pass interferences, yada yada. I mean, you can't turn the ball over 5 times and expect to win a playoff game. Yeah, we saw the Patriots with some turnovers getting their wins, but Josh Allen just hitting that playoff wall, kind of like their owner said, and that's why Sean McDermott's on his way out. And that Broncos team showed why it pays to have a good defense and be at home in the playoffs and have the better coach for the Super Bowl to his resume. But Josh Allen, I mean, he doesn't get enough criticism that Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes would get for losing in these big moments. And I don't know.
I also think this is the first one where you can point the finger and be like, "This was his fault."
Yeah, I know that James Cook had a couple fumbles, which is very uncharacteristic. Yeah, there were big hits, but still, Josh Allen got to be safer with the ball. Remember early in his career, those were his woes. And in the last 2 years, his MVP season last year and then this year, he cut those down. He was putting on the Superman cape, but I think he had to wear it too much. They got to revamp that roster. That's the biggest thing I've seen. But shout out to that Broncos defense. It's a very tough unit. And Bo Nix did his thing. Kind of sucks we don't get to see him here, but that 2024 or 2025 draft class of QBs really balling out. Him, Caleb, and Drake May. Jaden Daniels did it last year. I mean, that's just an insane sight to see. That's got to be one of the best quarterback draft classes of all time already.
Yeah, and then we move, obviously, still staying on the Bills, obviously you're saying they need to retool that roster. It's looking like they're going to with firing McDermott. I didn't really see that coming, but, I mean, they have to shake something up. I think this is a tough year to do that off. I mean, there's so many losses that they've had, heartbreaking losses where it's like, do you do it one of the years when Mahomes just stabs you and, kicks you in the face with 13 seconds left? That's a tough one. Like, this one is truly the one where, like I said, you can point at it and be like, Josh Allen, you didn't play your best game. We needed you. But again, they needed him to be Superman. We kept saying that they needed him to go into these games, run the ball, throw for 300 yards, do everything, carry these shitty receivers to obviously another conference championship berth, but we'll fall just short of that in overtime. But go ahead.
Yeah, so like you said, obviously we're looking for him to play Superman, and kudos to him. I mean, he got them back in the game. They looked like they were out of it a few times. They kept coming back from deficits, cutting it. They got to overtime. You got what you wanted. You got the ball too, so you had your chance with the new overtime rules. But the thing about Sean McDermott is he's supposed to be this defensive mastermind. You're giving up 30-plus points in the playoffs. I know their personnel wasn't as good as it has been in the past on both sides of the ball, but I don't know if you saw that interview with their owner today, and he really shed some light on the stuff. Him talking about how McDermott called out the whole roster and the format they put together, going against the team. He was saying
Keon Coleman's statement was
yeah,
crazy.
and then he said that's the guy that the coaching staff pushed to bring in too. So that kind of looks bad on their part. But like I agree with the owner. You can't just keep putting that square peg into the circle hole and saying we're gonna win at some
Sooner or
point. Like,
later, the ball is going to bounce our way.
yeah, you have a roster that good. You're gonna get to the playoffs no matter what, as they've shown, even if they're not winning their division. And you have all these chances. You got to get over that hump. But I think Sean McDermott will go somewhere else. Definitely a good coach in this league, but you need a fresh start with something else and try and get it working somehow.
Yeah. Next game, 49ers just got the belt in Seattle,
Crazy.
41-6. That game was over before it started. Shaheed ran the opening kickback. Kenneth Walker went crazy for 3 touchdowns and 100-some yards. There wasn't much to talk about here. I think Seattle is obviously the betting favorite to win it for a reason. I think their performance that week against a 49ers team that a lot of people had hoped for in a divisional matchup up there in Seattle, a familiar opponent for those Seahawks. But Seahawks go 3-0 against them on the year.
Yeah, I mean, divisional matchups, we expected a tight game, but the Seahawks coming off the bye showed why they were the number 1 seed there, right? Defense was firing on all cylinders. They have all those
That
all-pros on that
defense is
side.
so good.
The secondary's great. The pass rush. The offense was going. Yeah, they lost Zach Charbonnet, so we'll see how that comes into effect. I still think KW3 is a great running back.
All right, so the Seahawks went 3-0. The 49ers beat them week 1.
Yeah, that's so long ago. That's a whole different Niners team, and that's kind of to my second point here. The wheels kind of fell off the bus for this Niners team. They were playing great football, and we kind of expected Saleh and Shanahan to lead them, but their woes kind of showed here. They were without their top guys. Obviously, Bosa and Warner, they lost earlier in the year, the heart and soul of that defense. A lot of unknown guys stepping up in a Saleh-led scheme, but against a top-notch team on the road in the playoffs, they showed why they weren't missing their skilled players. Also losing Kittle there down that stretch. They lost Ayuk throughout the whole year. He's not going to be a Niner anymore. He's never going to dress up for them again, their owner said. But I think it kind of showed all the pieces they were missing. But I was surprised at the performance they put forward in that one.
Yeah. Like I said, not much else to say there. We'll move to Sunday. Your Patriots were the early game, 28-16 over Houston. CJ Stroud throws for the 4 interceptions in the first half. This was never really a game. Patriots had a pretty good stranglehold on it most of the time. At least never really felt like a game. It got to 10-7. Texans, they had a lead there. But I feel like with all the turnovers in the first half, it felt like the Texans were lucky to even get anything going there. It was answered by the pick 6 by Marcus Jones. They just kind of never looked back from there. 21-10 at halftime. Patriots handled business. Only the 7 points in the second half, but the one thing I'd like to say, but you'll go in on your boy Drake May and Vrabel. I do love Vrabel. What's with all these fumbles by May? Is that the offensive line? They're not letting guys get through to him, or?
Yeah, I'm going to put one fumble on him. The one where it was a broken play that he tried to get extra yards out of. Just go down there, especially with this ball hawking Texans defense. But the last few weeks,
that's the other thing. You guys are running into like elite defenses every week.
I think it's the first time that now someone's going up against 3 top 5, top 10 defenses in a playoff run.
And probably if you get to the Super Bowl, I think it'll be the Seahawks in that game. That's another legit defense. Yeah.
So I'm happy we got through the number 1 defensive league, and they showed why they are that. Will Anderson, whenever Will Campbell didn't have help, Will Campbell just coming off injury too. That's a tough job. When he was left alone on that island, Anderson was getting through. Shout out to Morgan Moses, held his own, didn't allow any pressures. I think he was PFF's highest graded player in the divisional round, at least on the lineman perspective, holding Daniil Hunter in check. But that pressure coming through was heavy. Anderson getting through a lot of those blindside tip balls while May's in the pocket, especially by Will Anderson. He would be Defensive Player of the Year, if not for Hall of Fame all-timer Myles Garrett. I mean, Roy Anderson's is coming. But that defense showed why they're really strong. Would like Drake to protect the ball a little bit more, but he'll end up losing 2. And like I said, one of them on that scramble where you got to just get down, which he's usually pretty good at. But against that defense, you're seeing a little bit of different things. Did like how he was able to dot up that defense, throw 3 big throws. The one on 4th and 1, he read the blitz correctly, shifted the line, went off away from his first read to Ramondre in the flat, and he finds Pop Douglas in one-on-one coverage, throws a bullet in there for a touchdown on the house call. The throw to Diggs also for the touchdown was a great tight window throw, and what a snag by Stephon Diggs. That guy's really turned into a leader. And
the hit he took on that play to make that catch was crazy.
Yeah, and that's showing vintage Diggs. I mean,
we know that hit's coming. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and he braced for it. He did perfectly, held on to the ball. We gambled on him to bring him in. He gambled on the Patriots, and it turned out perfectly. And I just love how he's like the heart and soul, the coach of the captain, unspoken captain of the team. Just that veteran leadership, calling Drake May Drizzy on the sidelines, getting all those young receivers hyped up and playing their role. And then that throw and catch with Drake May to Keyshawn Boutte. I think that's only the second time or third time in the last few years that Derek Stingley's been beat, and 2 of them were on that same exact play to Boutte. So him coming around, 6th-round pick at LSU, man, I mean, that was just a great find. And Drake May doing his thing through the air. And first time all year that Texans defense been lit up for 3 passing touchdowns. Talking about how great that defensive backcourt is, which it is, but they held their own. And then the Patriots defense kind of playing with that chip on their shoulder. Every game they go in top 5 defense of the Chargers, number 1 defense of the Texans. Even in the Broncos this week, that's their saving grace, right, is how good their defense is. But how good has this Patriots defense been? It's a top 10 unit in the regular season. They're getting pressure. They brought in so many guys. He brought in Clavon Chiasen, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Hawkins. They drafted Craig Woodson. Gonzo's fully healthy. When Gonzo and Milton Williams are playing, they're 16-0 in the season. I'll knock on wood on that. But they're 16-0 when those two are playing. It's just a great scheme that Vrabel's put together too. And the interim defensive coordinator is stepping in too, doing a great job. But the pressure they're getting, along with that secondary that they have, the run-stop game too, we talked about it earlier in the year. They're holding teams to low amounts of rushing, and the turnovers they create is just awesome to see. And shout out to Marcus Jones. That guy just has a nose for the football and finds touchdowns too, left and right. So if you hit on that, kudos to you. But Patriots firing on all cylinders on both sides. The run game playing well. I think we might get Mac Hollins back this week. So there's a lot of good things going on in New England. Let's not forget how young this team is, how much money they have in the future too. First year with Vrabel, McDaniels and May all together, and it's coming together nicely. But another tough test here in Denver. CJ Stroud, though, big question mark. Do you think they keep him around?
I think they will. The D'Amico Ryans dubbed him our guy. That's never something you want to hear, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they keep him around too. The thing is, you invested so much draft stock in him, but let's not forget what he was missing. He was missing Nico Collins, his number 1 receiver, his top threat. Then they lose Dalton Schultz early in the game, who was going to early and often. So you have to rely on the likes of Christian Kirk, a bunch of young receivers. Woody Marks, the rookie running back, had that stripped out. That was a turning point in the game too.
That was a huge turning point.
Yeah, they got into the red zone 2 or 3 times. I think they turned it over, and they ended up kicking field goals a couple times. Yeah, they had the touchdown to Kirk, but that Patriots defense was stout when it mattered. They created the turnovers too. CJ Stroud under duress all game. That's the one thing that I would like to see is CJ Stroud with a solid offensive line in front of him, how he can play, but he's under pressure every time he drops back.
Yeah.
It's not just this Patriots game. Yeah, we had a great pass rush. Shout out to Chiasen living up to his first round, 7th overall, I believe, pick out of Jacksonville with LSU there. But every week, remember early in the year, that Seahawks and Texans game in the prime time, every time Stroud drops back, he has no time. He has people in his face. So not an easy task. I think they got to revamp that offense. They have the defense locked down. So I think this team will be back. I mean, they've been in the playoffs, 3 years in a row now. They always get by the first round. Got to get to the second.
CJ Stroud's won a playoff game 3 straight years. Like Justin Herbert, we keep waiting on his first one. CJ Stroud's done it 3 straight years. I mean, that elite defense and them playing at home a lot because they win that weak division. I mean, I guess weak Jaguars kind of came out of nowhere.
They're on the road this year against you guys, but AFC North was kind of
that was a
yeah. It was the AFC North this year was just not itself. But the one thing I think they need to do is get a solid offensive core around CJ Stroud. I think he can have more success than what we saw last week. And I think the big thing that really screwed the Texans, last point on them here, is Joe Mixon coming in here. The uncertainty with that. He was their bell cow, their number 1 guy. They had Nico Collins and Joe Mixon. That's a great little tandem you have there. And then you don't get him the whole season. We don't really know what's going on with him. Left them with the rookie Woody Marks and end of his career, Nick Chubb. So without that true run game and not much else, you're putting a lot of pressure on him, especially with the weak line. I don't know. They got to fix that offense. But that Texas team, shout out that defense, man. I'm happy we got by that. That was a tough test.
Yeah, absolutely. Our last game on Sunday, we had the Rams in Chicago in a winter. We had some bear weather over there in Chicago. Everyone was calling it. Caleb Williams definitely delivered in this one. An insane play on 4th down to force the overtime. At 17-17, Rams pull it off with the game-winning field goal after the interception by Caleb there. An insane game. Like I said, this was an awesome game. I watched this overtime back a couple times. I was trying to see certain things with this game where the Bears you knew that's how that was going to end. With him, a lot of people were saying what was to be the worst-case scenario with how this game could end. A Caleb interception, like the way he's gotten them in all these spots every year, or all games this year, but you kind of knew the magic was going to run out sooner or later.
Yeah, before I get into my take on this game, do you think they should have went for 2 there at the end when they tied that game?
How much time was left?
I think there's about a minute, maybe a little bit less.
I thought they were going.
There was less. The Rams ended up kneeing it out, remember?
18 seconds left.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, they were pretty gassed though. That's the one thing you have to remember. The play that Caleb Williams had, I mean, absolute magic, running 30 yards backwards, three defenders in his face, finds a Cole Kmet who just checked in for Colston Loveland for a miraculous touchdown. All for naught.
I also think the new overtime rules in the playoffs where both teams get the ball,
That comes into effect.
yeah, that's why they didn't go for two.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Because
It's
now
the
the new
old
strategy is you don't want the ball in overtime. You want the ball second,
yeah.
so you know what you need. Because then you go for two in overtime.
Yeah, you make the other team come out with pressure, and then you just maybe leave it up to a boot. And they got there. They had that fourth down conversion overtime with that QB sneak by CJ Stroud. I thought they're just going to run the ball, gain 10 to 15 more yards. Even if Caleb Williams, I know that DJ Moore kind of gave up on the route. Maybe he doesn't catch it, but at least he disrupts the interception if he keeps running to it.
Could have just
But
been a knockdown ball.
yeah, surprised by Ben Johnson that he let it fly that much that late in that crucial situation. I would
I
trust
think
him
that's
on
what
guy
got
and
him there, though.
Swift.
It's like it's kind of like the Dan Campbell in him. It's like I'm going to go for all these fourth downs, whether it's
The
fourth and
Dan
seven in the
Campbell
NFC
coaching
Championship.
tree does
Yeah,
not know what taking the points means. No
they,
conservative mind in that belt. But I
I
mean, Caleb Williams, it's the full Caleb Williams experience in that game. I think he's going to be a great quarterback in this
I
league.
do
He
too.
shows
Yeah,
how good he can be, but he's got to limit the turnovers because you see him miraculous, you see him turnovers, and that wasn't the only one of the game. He threw multiple picks in that one too, and you just got to be safer with the football. He has all the talent in the world. I would have liked to have seen him run a lot more too. They got stuffed on the goal line a couple times. Use that mobility of Caleb's legs. I think Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, though, successful season in their first year together, and I expect a lot more from that team to come.
yeah. I was the biggest Caleb hater whenever he was coming out of school. I didn't think he was going to be that good. Obviously, going to the Bears, I thought it was one of those. All right, another top
Trubisky,
quarterback going to the Bears, Justin Fields all
Fields,
over
yeah.
again. But dude, he has shown some real life into that Bears team. Obviously, winning a playoff game in his first appearance against the Packers, let alone almost takes down the Rams in this one at home. I would have loved to see the Bears win that game. I like this Rams team, Matt Stafford, Nakua.
The
I'm
vets.
excited to see a NFC West matchup. I do think the Rams fare better in Seattle this week than the Bears would have, but that play on fourth down to force the overtime was
That was
insane.
crazy. It was so cool to see too. And
That's
you were,
you know what that reminded me of? Do you remember the play Jalen Milrow made at Alabama against? I think it was against Tennessee or Vandy. Just same thing. Just drift back, drift back, drift back, drift back. He was at like the 40, 50-yard line. Throws it.
you have no hope, and you just throw a touchdown.
That's what I mean. I was like, oh my God, there's no way he's. Well, let alone he was so wide open. How do you let him get that wide open to even have
Some
that
people
off?
saying a push off. I don't think there was, but it just takes so long. You're coming back to the ball. You don't expect it to get thrown perfect to that corner, but it's such a long time in that pocket too. So shout out to that Caleb Williams play, but shout out to the Rams defense for locking down what matters. Their defense did play well throughout the day, creating multiple turnovers. And then one thing I'd like to call out that was shout out to that Bears defense. I thought that'd be a problem. I thought they'd give up over 30 points to the Rams in that one. They held them to 20, 17, whatever it may be, 17 in the first four quarters. I didn't think they were going to play up to stuff that well, but they did.
The weather came into effect a lot. The Rams didn't look like themselves, in my opinion, in that first half.
What about how we got that controversial call too with the Bears and Rams that could have been a similar situation to Broncos and Bills on the previous night, but his knee ended up being down with that turnover where it looked like the Bears got the pick. That was a turning point in the game too. So a lot of different things coming into effect. You know, looked great though. Kyron Williams. We were talking about how good Blake Corum had been. And that little tandem, like, is Kyron Williams being phased out? No, they paid him for a reason. He looked like the best player on their offense in that one. I expect them to get Adams and Nakua involved a bit more. We saw them with those jet sweeps and end arounds to Nakua to kind of manufacture him the ball. But they go up against a tougher defense this week than they saw in the Bears. So Matt Stafford, MVP, hopeful, has his work cut out for him. But Sean McVay will be ready. They kept their calm, cool presence. Even with their backs against the wall, they still end up winning this one on the road in a hostile environment. Now they got to do it again against an even better squad in Seattle.
Yeah. We'll get into our conference championship games here. Sunday, January 25th, 3 p.m. on CBS. Your Patriots are heading to Mile High to take on Jarrett Stidham and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos at home are getting 5 points on MGM. This has been moving. I know it opened at 4.5. Obviously, there was a lot of movement with the Bo Nix stuff, but that was pretty immediate. Over under 42.5. Broncos on the money line plus 210. Patriots minus 250. Take us away.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great matchup. I remember Nick Foles beat Tom Brady, so I'm not counting any chickens before they hatch, definitely. Backup quarterback stepping in. Let's not forget Jarrett Stidham was the number one ranked dual threat QB coming into his college class when he came out of high school. And Sean McVay, I'm not Sean McVay, Sean Payton here. We got Mikes and Sean's on both sides. It gets a little tough.
I know.
Right. Crazy stat. But Sean Payton knows how to get his offense going, right? They have the pieces. RJ Harvey, he's been looking good while he stepped in. They just activated, I don't know if they activated him. They opened the window for J.K. Dobbins to return, which would be a boost for them. They have good receivers in Sutton and Franklin, and we know how great that defense is. Another top defense for New England to take on. What an addition they got with Talanoa Hufanga. I know they got Dre Greenlaw too, but Hufanga with that big hits last week, creating turnovers, flying around that safety position. Niners lost him and Greenlaw in a big spot, and they added to an already great Denver Broncos defense playing at home. That's a tough spot too. We'll see if Drake May can protect the football a little bit more, right? Use those options. Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, that's been a nice little duo in the backfield. They've been running the ball very well. Look for our line to step up a little bit more. Diggs is going to be coming up in clutch situations, and we know they have those good DBs. Once again, we just saw Stingley and co. Now we see Surtain and co. So it's going to be a great matchup on that side. The Patriots defense, I think they're going to be flying around the football and hyped up, still being underwritten as the lesser defense in this one. So they're trying to prove themselves why they are a top unit and keep creating those turnovers. Got to get some tape on Jarrett Stidham, because Milton Williams, they asked him, they said, what do you know about Jarrett Stidham? He goes, nothing. I know nothing. He knows. He goes, I know they like to bar over him. That's all they know. And Jarrett Stidham with a little bit of a revenge type game here, right? Drafted by the New England Patriots too. Last time we saw him play was a couple of years ago for the Vegas Raiders, and a very good performance in a late week season game. So he's going to be ready. You know, he's going to seize the opportunity. I think it's going to be a hard fought game. Denver and New England, always great games when we go there. Patriots undefeated on the road this year, but the Broncos, 2-0 against the Patriots in the last 2 AFC Championship games in Denver. So we have a lot of good storylines coming to this one. I think it's going to be a great matchup, though. I'm looking for Drake May to continue passing the ball, and if our defense can stay stout, I like the opportunity that we have.
Yeah, I think as far as the spread goes, I think Stidham is going to struggle against your defense. I'm not going to overestimate this game or underestimate what this Broncos defense is able to do. But I think your offense will be able to put up points. If I had to take a spread on this one, I would lead on the Patriots -5. I hate that number. I hate when it's at 5, but I think this could be with it sitting at 42.5. I could see this like 27-20, 17, 27-20, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And the good thing is we just showed we can put
like if Stidham can even do that. I think the run game is going to have to be so good. The Broncos are going to try to shorten this game.
The Patriots' run defense is one of the top notch in the league, especially with Milton Williams in the lineup.
You guys are hoping you can stop the run and make Stidham beat you. Like,
yeah, force him to throw the ball. With Gonzalez active too. Hopefully Carlton Davis is active this week. Marcus Jones, Hawkins, and Woodson, the 2 Cal guys. I mean, we got ball hawks in the secondary too, so they'll be looking to get turnovers. Chiason's going to be getting at the quarterback, but that pressure in the interior with Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, I mean, name a better defensive tackle tandem in the league right now. There's a reason that Milton Williams got paid the most money in free agency this year. So that's going to be a fun storyline to watch. They do have a pretty good lineup there too. You know, Peyton's going to be dialing up some crazy schemes for this one.
Barmore was the one that had the
blood clots.
Blood clots. Yeah.
Second round pick out of Alabama. I mean, he's as advertised. And when you get him and Milton Williams rushing the inside, even their depth is playing well. Durden and Tonga too. But the Patriots have so much depth on that side of the ball. They can filter guys in and out. Jennings, Landry, Spillane, Tavai, and Gibbons. Like, they rebuilt this defense very well. So there's a lot of options on that side.
He's the main one I was wrong about. I did not think Spillane was going to come in and just lead a defense the way he has been like this.
He's just a tackle machine. He flies all over the field, shutting down the run. If you're able to somehow get through Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, you have Jelani Tavai and Robert Spillane sitting right there. Jack Gibbons, Christian Ellis too.
Is that how you say it? Tavai or whatever it is?
Yeah, Jelani Tavai.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's been a run stopper throughout his career. They brought him in. Belichick brought him into New England actually a few years ago, and he stuck around just because of how well he can play. He was out for the beginning part of this year, but even with Christian Ellis and Jack Gibbons, who they brought in, those guys fly around. Remember that hit that Ellis threw on Jackson Dart when he was scrambling a few weeks ago? So they got some guys that can pop you too. So I'm going to look for some smash mouth football. Look for Ramondre Stevenson to have a game. He got poked in the eye early last one. I was like, oh God, like without Ramondre, not as confident. I know Travion Henderson has that home run speed, but he's still just a rookie, and the blocking that Ramondre provides, helping out that O-line, much better than it was in the past, but still a little bit weaker. That definitely helps out. So
yeah.
Looking for that strong, but Drake May, only 23 years old. One thing I told Mackie the other day is we're still playing with house money, right? This is the first time this team's been in the playoffs. They have no experience. We're just gaining experience, right? The window wasn't even supposed to be open yet with how young they are. And here they are. And Drake May, I like him against any defense. He's able to use his mobility, always keep his eyes downfield, and the passes he throws are next level, way beyond his years. So even against a tough defense in a hostile environment, I expect him to step up. Now 2 playoff games under his belt. He's going to be ready to go with another tough defense on tap.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the Patriots -5. I assume you're probably not even betting this. You just win and
It's
you're in the Super Bowl.
it's
Yeah.
like it's like the same thing that we've been saying all year. I think earlier in the year, remember I put the Patriots on their card twice. They went
And the
0-2.
worst case scenario for you is you bet the Patriots -5 and they win by 3 because you're not even going to care that you lost your bet. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I can't put them on the card. I'm not jinxing them again. I did it early in the year with the Raiders and the Steelers. I'm like, never again, never again. It's boded well. There's been times I've wanted to, but I'm gonna stick to the formula here. Maybe get a couple props out for you guys. But you want to know a crazy stat, Huff? We haven't had a rushing touchdown yet in any of these two playoff wins. It's been all
I
Drake
know.
May
I took
through the air.
Stevenson last week. I was fucking waiting
I've
for it.
taken them back to back weeks, and we thought we'd get those, but no, it's been Drake made a Booty. Henry's had one.
Now that
Diggs,
you just
Pop.
said that, I'm going to have to do it this week too.
Yeah, it's got to hit at some point, right? But Drake May, he's always got his eyes downfield. He's looking for
Stevenson,
that
you
home run
take
play.
Stevenson too. That's who I took
Yeah,
last week. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's
They
he's
use
the
him on the
guy.
goal line. Like I love
He-
a goal line
he's a
running
big
back. And you're
back
like,
too.
he's going to get a chance.
He's a big back too, tough to tackle. He softens up that defense. But like I said, May always having the eyes downfield, looking for the big play too. Even in the face of pressure, he's going to get his through the air. And kind of reminiscent of Brady or Breeze, he likes to spread that ball too. So it's tough to narrow down who it's going to go to. Is it Booty?
Yeah.
Is it Diggs? Is it Pop? Is it Kyle Williams? Hunter Henry?
He even throws in
yeah.
there every once in a while.
He finds the mismatch, and you know who I attribute that to is Josh McDaniels. We said Vrabel and May's name a lot and all those other pieces they added in, but bringing back Josh McDaniels, who had so much success in New England throughout all three of his tenures. I mean, that guy's one of the best offensive coordinators of all time, especially when he hangs them up from the coaching sidelines. I mean, we're going to be like, wow, look at his resume when he was an OC in New England. It's pretty crazy what he's able to do. He's running that Patriots offense, the same one they ran with Brady, but now you have a whole another dimension with the mobility of May's legs.
I was going to say make and run, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the AFC Championship. NFC Championship, 6:30 p.m. on Fox in Seattle with Matt Stafford and the Rams going to Seattle to take on the 12th man and those Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are the favorite here at 2.5, over under 47. Seahawks -155. Rams on the money line +130. I like the Seahawks here minus the 2.5. I'd like to bet this before it gets to 3. I think it will get to 3. I think they're calling for, Seattle type weather, going to be kind of shitty. We've seen the Rams come out in some of these playoff games this year, and they kind of look like they're not ready from the jump. I think if they play that way against this Seattle team in a divisional matchup and a team that's played them twice this year, I think that gives the Seahawks the advantage at home. We really saw how loud and got reminded of how loud that stadium can be when Rashid Shaheed ran that opening kickback. I'm going to take the Seahawks here. I think this will be a high-scoring game over on the 47 if I had to take a total, but I like the Seahawks minus 2.5. I think the losing Charbonnet hurts, but the fact that Kenneth Walker just had an absolute career game and the biggest game of the year, helping Sam Darnold yet again not have to do too much in a 41-6 victory. I don't think he's going to have to do that much here. I think Kenneth Walker is able to run on this Rams defense. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to have a big game, but I don't want to overlook this Rams team to it. I think the Seahawks defense is going to be the difference.
Yeah, this is such a tough one for me to pick. It almost seems like it's scripted to be May versus Stafford, right? In battle for that MVP on the biggest stage. But at the same time, the Seahawks are such a complete team, playing at home with the 12th man and arguably one of the toughest stadiums to play in. One crazy thing is if you like the Seahawks here, that means you think that Sam Darnold from that draft class is going to go to the Super Bowl with a chance to win over Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. How crazy is that to think about? Remember, back to their first few years in the league, we never thought we'd be saying that. But he's put together a good career. Everybody thought they overpaid him when he left Minnesota. You and I both thought I wouldn't pay Sam Darnold to come in and be my quarterback, especially
I'd
the
love to
contract
go back
he
and
got.
hear what I said about that deal.
Yeah, and it's crazy. He lived up to it. He does his job well, and he has a great supporting cast. They have the best receiver in the league. We get to see the top two receivers in the league this year, in my opinion, go head-to-head in Nakua and JSN. JSN has a little bit easier matchup than Nakua, in my opinion. We're talking about the Seahawks team, how they can play a complete game on both sides of the ball. So can the Rams. I mean, that defense does step up. It's a strong unit. They create turnovers, too. I think there's going to be a lot less turnovers in this one than we saw in the previous 2 weeks, so that's going to make the game a little bit slower. Two teams that have already seen each other twice, too. Let's not forget that. But if it's somehow close, right, throughout, which I expect, you can't count out Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, the veteran. When he gets that hurry-up offense, he can control the line of scrimmage. He finds the mismatch, whether it be Adams, whether it be Nakua, Parkinson at the tight end position, and Kenneth Walker with the run game, too, is very strong. I wouldn't count them out. I do think the Rams are going to pull the upset here. I think they're going to go on the road and win this game. They've had that year. I think they have the veteran presence. And we've said it before. I know Darnold has a win under his belt now in the playoffs, but is the moment too big for him? This is going to be a big heat check for him because he didn't have to do too much last week with the way his team played.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my thing. That's my biggest fear going into this is whether it's this or the Super Bowl, whatever it is. Where if I bet the Seahawks at some point, I know the real Sam Darnold is going to show up.
He's going to see some ghosts in the big
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
If you get any pressure on them, that's when it gets going. And the Rams are a capable defense of doing that. They shut down the run pretty well last week. They have some good guys that have been in the playoffs now, a lot of playoff experience on this team. And you got to think Devontae Adams comes to life. He wasn't really used too much last week. I think he gets going a little bit, finds the end zone here. And I think it's going to be who can control that line of scrimmage, who can run the ball a little bit better, because we know what the passing game can involve. But if they get one-dimensional on either side, I think it gets a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I think we're in for some great games this weekend. I was kind of obviously disappointed to see Knicks go down. That kind of made that game a little bit more, more different narrative, I guess you could say. But like you said, with the Foles thing, I heard that reference again today. You never know any of these backup quarterbacks. Sean Payton, a good coach. I still expect a good game in the AFC. The NFC, obviously, a 2.5-point spread, a divisional matchup. I think we should expect two good games on Sunday. You can catch all of our official plays for those. HitTheBooks.pod on Instagram, HitTheBooks_pod on Twitter. Real quick, in the college football world, we had the Indiana Hoosiers take home the national championship for the first time in program history. Fernando Mendoza, Kurt Signetti complete the 16-0 season with a national championship victory over Miami on their home field in Hard Rock Stadium. What do we think of this run by Indiana through the college football playoff? Do we think Indiana's a school to watch out for? Is this more of a one-and-done scenario? First, their run, I guess you could say, the Rose Bowl against
Is this
Alabama.
the best season of all time?
It's tough to say because the extended playoff, best record. They're the first 16-0 team, all of that. Obviously, Ohio State won it last year at 15-1, but everyone loves to point back at that LSU 2019 team. And I'm not big on like comparing teams. I know that's kind of like recent that you can kind of do that, but like when people try to pull is this team better than the 1996 Chicago Bulls?
No college
It's
football
like, dude, that
playoffs.
was 35 years ago. But like, I don't know. This Indiana team is dominant. The national championship, we got a great game. I was hoping it was a good game. I didn't want to see Indiana just roll another team like the way they did to Oregon. That was so
It didn't
uneventful.
look like it from the start either. The 10-0 halftime score, Miami not getting anything going, then they break the big touchdown run.
I was going to say that it looked like it was going to be a very similar kind of just strangle them out till there's no time left on the clock. Indiana wins, but they were winning most of these games, putting up 40 points, 50 points. Beck throws the interception at the end. Indiana wins it, and obviously, I think Indiana's ready to run this thing back. They still have a good roster. I know a lot of people were talking about, they're a bunch of 25-year-old, 5th and 6th-year seniors. I mean, they're bringing in Josh Hoover from TCU. So Signetti's going after another guy. Mendoza's younger brother did transfer to Georgia Tech. I don't know if there was ever really a plan for him to take over the program there, but I think this is a team you'll be back in the Big Ten next year with, Ohio State and Michigan and Oregon as the big dogs in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and you know what? Fernando Mendoza really showed why he is going to be the number one pick. That touchdown run he had was absolutely incredible.
The team had like 10 Heisman moments this year.
Yeah, and Las Vegas has got to be happy to get him. I think he's one of the most consensus number one picks we've had in a while. He's going to go there, play with Genty and Bowers. It's going to make that team a little bit more exciting. New staff there, too. So that'll be something to watch. They have Brady and ownership.
All under Brady, I think, is the key there. They'll figure things out sooner or later.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome to see. But it was nice to see Miami keep it close. Like we said, they had a chance at the end. They covered the spread there. I believe it was 7.5. It closed at. They ended up covering, and they had the ball at the end with a chance to win the game. Carson Beck throws an interception, which we saw him do a lot. Shout out to him on a good college career. I know it was kind of crazy and longer than a lot of people like to give him credit for, but I mean, hey, he went down to Miami and did his thing, got his team to that spot. It seemed almost scripted. That's what I was saying to you, with them getting into the playoffs, the championship being in Miami, but they just ended up running into the powerhouse that is Indiana. But happy that we got a good game. And Huff, my question is, do you know who that girl was on TV that they kept showing?
They were very proud to keep showing her. There was a lot of celebrities there, and they were very prominent on wanting to keep showing her.
Yeah. Just if you know who that is, make sure you don't get in trouble by your significant other on that one. But yeah, that was great to see Irvin there as well. I think that was a good college football run, and I'm so happy with the way the college football playoffs are starting to shape out. I think they're really getting a good hold on how it should be. And expect for another great one next year.
Yeah, I love this new format. I think they got it right. I think this year was obviously better than last year. The first run, you had Boise State getting one of the buys. It just didn't feel right. I think they got it right this year. Obviously, when the number one team wins, not a lot of people want to see that, but I mean, they were the best team all season. They showed it. Obviously, undefeated year, hell of a season. They get the Heisman, the national championship. Mendoza is going to be the number one overall pick. It's just that kid's world, and we're just living in it right now. But some of these MLB signings we've had in the past few weeks with the MLB free agency, going on over the past few weeks, we can go through some of these before we get out of here. Yankees re-signing Cody Bellinger, Mackey's Mets staying in the conversation. They're going to try to compete with these Dodgers, going out and getting a Luis Robert, going out and getting a Bo Bichette. The Phillies bringing back their catcher in Real Muto. A couple of these other big moves. The Dodgers obviously get Kyle Tucker.
Crazy.
Not many people were expecting otherwise. I think most people expected him to either stay in Chicago or go there. What do you think of some of these other big moves that we've had?
Yeah, a lot of people expecting a lockout now in the MLB with the Dodgers adding another superstar to their lineup. You can attribute that almost back to the Mookie Betts trade. If they don't bring him in, maybe Ohtani doesn't end up going there. Maybe they'll get Kyle Tucker. Maybe the playoff woes and choking of the Dodgers continues, but that's not the case. And they're right here running the table once again. They're loaded for another big run here. I like what the Mets did, trying to add and change their lineup a little bit. They lost Alonso, but they brought in Bichette, Luis Robert. They have some good pieces there. Like you said, the Phillies bring back the catcher, also bring back Kyle Schwarber. I think that was a big thing there. My Red Sox bring in Ranger Suarez. That's nice to see. We lost Bregman, which is a tough loss, but I think we have enough young pieces there. Brought in Wilson Contreras too, which is a great add to our lineup. Nice right-handed power bat. Playing first base for us now, which we desperately needed. I think the Orioles have a bounce back here. I like what they did bringing in Alonso. They have some other good pieces on that team too. But it's going to be a fun year. I think there's going to be a few more trades that take place here. Yeah, but I'm excited to see it as it continues to fold out. We got that World Baseball Classic coming up too. That's kind of what I have my eyes set on. I'll lock in on the MLB a little bit further after that. But we saw a lot of our good stars going to Team USA, so hopefully they can take back that championship that Japan took from us with Ohtani last year or last time around.
Yeah, so obviously some major news going around the MLB. We have a breaking news in the NFL here. I don't know if you heard this, at least I haven't. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores has assigned a contract extension with the Minnesota Vikings.
Interesting.
If he does not receive a head coaching job this cycle, he will be back as the team's defensive coordinator.
That's an interesting clause right there. I do think he's going to get a chance to get a head coaching job. Could it be Baltimore, right? That's a team that's looking out for one. I know Buffalo's looking for a coach. I think they hire internally personally, but I know Dayball's still on the market too. Flores didn't have a great job. He had a tough situation down there in Miami as his first head coaching job. But I mean, it goes to show you he loves his role in Minnesota. He has a great defensive unit there. They had a great season, kept them in a lot of games, got them a lot of wins on the board, especially Kevin O'Connell running the show there. You have a great mix of offense and defense. And then speaking of another coordinator we forgot to mention, Mike McDaniel going to the Chargers to coach with Harbaugh there. I love that signing. I thought he was going to end up getting another head coaching job, but he's sticking to his forte there. Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator who tried with the Jets, came back to the Niners and gave them success this year without their star players, getting the head coaching job in Tennessee. So a lot of good changes I like to see throughout the league. These are all great schemers on one side of the ball, but let's see how they can do in head coaching positions. But I think McDaniel to the Chargers is a great move.
Yeah. I think that's going to do it for us this week. We had obviously two great games in the NFL coming up this weekend on Sunday. You can catch all of our picks. HitTheBooks.pod on Instagram, HitTheBooks_pod on Twitter. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week for a little Super Bowl. What number Super Bowl is this? I've totally lost.
We're above the 50s. I know that.
Oh,
but
I think we're past 60, aren't we?
I don't know. We're getting old now. But
we
got a week off in between. We got a little
60.
week off in between.
This is 60.
This is 60? Yeah, all right. So
Yeah.
we're just out of the 50s. I thought I was somewhere around that range. But we got a week off in between to prep it. But this divisional or conference round is going to be absolutely dynamite. My team in it, I'm hoping for the best for it. So it's going to be fun to see. We got the Olympics just around the corner too. World Baseball Classic, like I mentioned. NBA is going well too right now. So a lot of stuff going on in all the sports world.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.